What is the creepiest glitch you've experienced in real life? I had a dream an old friend, who I hadn't spoken to or seen around or anything in about 2 years, died, and I went to his funeral. I woke up and thought, whoa, that's weird, and went to check his Facebook to see what he was up to. He had gone missing a few days previous, but his body wasn't found until over a year later. One night my dad was tucking me in when I was 8 years old. He said goodnight and I replied, goodbye. He asked me why I said bye and we laughed it off. It was just an accident. The next morning my brother found him passed in the living room. He had a heart attack in the middle of the night at the age of 48. Every time I just randomly think about the movie Groundhog Day, I see it everywhere. People mention it to me, it's on the TV, radio, I can't escape it. Reminds me of a weekend vacation my friends took, where we kept hearing the song House of the Rising Sun, to the point where we started to notice it. The last night we were there, we were just watching TV in out hotel room when an episode of, I think, Supernatural came on where that song precedes bad things happening. We were all a bit stoned, so it freaked us out. We were freaked out again when we heard it on the drive home. While this may not seem creepy, I can tell you the experience most definitely was creepy. This happened when I was 8 and working in the yard with my mom. My mother and I were doing the spring planting in the flower beds around the house. I went inside for a pee break, and on my way to the bathroom I had to walk through the living room. I entered the LR through the kitchen. Looked up, and on the other side of the living room I saw sitting on the couch none other than my sister. She was wearing her school uniform and was looking towards me but not at me. Never said a word. Nothing really unusual, right? What makes this a glitch? My sister was hundreds of miles away at boarding school, not helping us plant flowers and certainly not sitting at the edge of the couch giving me a blank stare. My little 8-year-old self reversed course and locked himself in the half bath until he regained the courage to go back through the house and finish planting hostas. This may not seem creepy, that is fucking terrifying. My father was in the hospital for surgery and had to stay there overnight, but when I tried to fall asleep I heard him inside of the house. Being the stupidly curious person I am, I went to go investigate, and there he was, walking around with a confused expression on his face. When I asked him why he wasn't at the hospital, he replied with, I don't know, I just fell asleep and here I am. After that, he just kinda walked away and out the front door, which was strange to watch. When I went to visit him the next day, he told me he had a strange dream where he was at our house, but only I seemed to see him. Probably one of the creepiest moments of my life. You just no-clip into his dream. Has anyone else experienced long, realistic dreams where you're knowingly in the somewhat distant future? I had one dream a few years ago like this. Don't know exactly what year it represented, but I'd guess maybe 2030 to 2040 years. I knew I was middle age at least. It felt like I was there for a complete day in regular real time, except I knew that I was essentially just visiting and whatever was going on there had no consequences for me, and I was free to wander around. I was invited into someone's apartment at one point and was looking around thinking, wow, so that's what the future design trends will be. I need to remember this. And I was studying this centralized high-tech control panel on the wall for all the smart house type stuff. Unfortunately, I didn't see any cars. Out in the city, there was some forced population registration thing going on with tents, booths set up outside various stores, and the people manning it were threatening me that I didn't have this new ID card yet, but I knew I wasn't actually there and could safely ignore their threats. I was in this vivid dream so long and got so used to the new future environment that when I finally woke up in my own bed and real life, it felt like I had just traveled back in time, much to my relief. I wonder if I'll have some major crazy deja vu in another decade or so. I'm saving this comment just in case. Hey friend, do you want to get more interesting information from around the internet? Join our Telegram channel where we also publish unincluded materials from our videos. The link in description below. When I was a little kid, like around 6-7, my family got a pet hamster, gerbil, whatever. I remember the first day we got him, I played with him, went upstairs for bed, fell asleep, woke up, came back downstairs, and he was dead. I was really sad that the pet we had just gotten was dead, and my parents informed me we had him for a year before he died. I literally have no recollection of that entire year. I just get a hamster, fall asleep, miss a year of my life, wake up, hamster's dead. It's trippy thinking about it now. That's weird as fuck. Are you sure your parents weren't just messing with you? I had a dream about a coworker. She loved dogs and would always ask me to share pictures of my German Shepherd dog and Labrador whenever we'd talk at work. In the dream, she was on a couch crying. My Labrador is a very emotional, connected dog. She goes to anyone she thinks is sad, which is exactly what she did in the dream. My coworker looked at me and said, "Thank you for sharing her." I feel better about all of this now. I found out at work the next day that my coworker had tripped at the top of her stairs and died that night. The dream still freaks me out when I think about it. It was so vivid and clear. When my mom called to tell me that my grandpa died, I thought she said Papa died, and Papa is the nickname for my dad. I was crying uncontrollably, and when I finally figured out it was Grandpa, I was too embarrassed to admit that I thought it was my dad. I called him later and told him, and he just laughed. Anyway, fast forward 3 weeks, and my dad dies too. Part of me thinks mishearing her was the universe preparing me to lose him. It was weird because it was like I lost him twice, and I'm still kind of waiting for someone to tell me it was all a mistake, and it was actually someone else. Edit. I feel kind of bad because I've barely thought about Grandpa since my dad died. My grandma has it the worst because she lost a husband and a son in the same month. In 6th grade, I called my mom to let her know my dad was about to head her way to drop my little sister and I off divorced parents. When she answered, I said, "Mama," and my mom frantically asked, "My name? Is that you?" I said, "Yes." She asked where I was. I said, "Daddy's house. We're about to come home now. Just wanted to let you know." "Love you, Mama." She asked me, "Who's Daddy? Where are you? Are you okay?" Obviously, I was confused and just answered, "Mama, I'm fine. I'm okay. I love you. I'll see you soon." She said she loved me too, tried to get me to stay on the phone, and I just hung up. My dad later got a call and visit from the police. As it turns out, I'd accidentally dialed the number of a woman whose daughter had the same name as me and had gone missing. Everything was cleared up very quickly, but I always thought it wasn't a mistake that I dialed the wrong number. Maybe it was that woman's daughter saying goodbye. Poor woman. She must have been given so much false hope from that phone call. Obviously, the story is mind-blowing, but my heart just hurts for her. Sometimes when I dream and I wake up, I wake up. I know it's a dream. I just know it's a dream, but I can't wake up. And the harder I try to wake up, or the more I realize I have to wake up, the scarier it gets, even though nothing really changes. It feels like a darkness enveloping you as you try and wake up from your fake room. How do I know it's a fake room? Just some weird details, like how my wall looks a little too white, or the Christmas tree's lights are on when they're supposed to be off. Don't ask why I have one in my room and not the living room. So then I go through like maybe 1-2 minutes of intense waking up, falling back asleep, trying to open my eyes, but then falling back asleep right after. As I said, the rooms are similar but not too similar, so I can just about tell when I'm in the real world and when I'm dreaming. Or perhaps both rooms are fake, and when I finally wake up, it's the real me in the real world. I don't know. Those are the scariest of dreams, even though they last for a few minutes tops, because that's right before I'm about to wake up. I was walking outside at 2 a.m., looking at my phone and listening to music with my headphones. I was completely zoned out. I was about to cross the street and briefly glanced if there was a car coming. I looked the wrong way, and if the light was green or not. Right as I am in the middle of the road, a car is basically a meter away from me, and the last thing I see are the blinding headlights right below my knees and the horn blaring through my music. A fraction of a second passes and I almost fall off my feet because I was expecting the impact and bracing for it. I open my eyes and see myself good 10 feet away from the edge of the road. The song had changed, the light for the cars is green, and I see the red tail lights of a lone car driving down along the road. My heart is pounding out of my chest, and I had to sit down for a while. I get home and start reading about near-death experiences, and I stumble on an idea called quantum immortality. Not sure if it messed me up even more, but the idea is that if you die in one parallel universe, your consciousness still continues in the ones where you live. I was more heartbroken about the thought of my mother having to bury me in my original universe than I was about my own death. I feel like the most plausible thing is that you probably narrowly dodged being hit by the car, and the real glitch was your adrenaline-spiked brain going into such a weird panic state that you had a half-minute memory lapse. Strange shit starts happening in perceived near-death situations. Still creepy. From 6th to 8th, I had felt like my world just repeated itself because I remember talking about something a few weeks ago, then I relived the same experience. And the scariest thing was I knew it was coming, and when I realized it, I had a frozen moment of thought. I still get this. I'll have a dream where I'm doing some mundane task like walking around a mall and see something normal, but specific. I forget about it for months until I get that major deja vu. Last time it happened, I caught it quickly and blurted out the description of the next first person who would come around the corner and got it exactly right. It feels really strange when it happens. Nothing nearly as creepy as some of the other ones, but I was at Burger King and I was playing in their little playground area. You know, the ones with all the tunnels, stairs, I don't know if it's the right term, but anyway. I distinctly remember going in circles in this one tunnel for like 4 or 5 rounds until I stopped and thought, wait, why am I going in circles? And then I continued and realized that the tunnel didn't go in circles, but it lead up. Thing is, less than a minute ago I was going around and around in the same tunnel over and over again. So I retraced my steps, went through the tunnel again, and arrived at the top once more. It was like a time loop that broke. Maybe I was just young and wasn't paying attention and was just exiting the tunnel and just going back in, or I was an idiot kid, but this really scared me as a 9-year-old. When I was little, my family was at my grandparents' place. They had a pool in the back, and us kids were swimming while our parents ate on the porch. I, being a devious 8-year-old, decided to swim into the deep end where I was not yet allowed. Being cocky and overconfident about my ability to swim, I dove down and touched the bottom of the pool. I stayed down there for a moment before I felt I needed air. I started to swim up, but I realized that I needed air a lot more urgently than I had previously thought. I felt my lungs burning and thought to myself that I needed air now. Still another 1.5 feet underwater, I took a breath. Weirdly enough, it felt as though I had breathed in air. I broke the surface and tried to cough out whatever water would be in my lungs, but there was nothing. I didn't find it very odd at the time, but now I think about it often. Edit. Now I know why everyone says "RIP" to their inbox. Thanks everyone for my most liked comment so far. Thank you very much for watching. In the comments below, write what creepy glitches have you encountered in real life. And don't forget to watch our other videos. Hugged everyone. Bye.